Brian with Fearless Filmmaking here, and today I want to talk about the lens that stays on my camera probably 80% of the time, and if I could only have one lens, is my go-to lens, and that is the Tamron 28-75. Now, of course, why is this lens my favorite lens? Of course, it has a lot to do with the focal length. 28-75 is very versatile for most shooting scenarios. It's great for interviews, corporate work, capturing a variety of shots and angles very quickly in, say, an office space where you're gonna need to be zoomed out, but you might also need to be zoomed in a little bit, and you can do that very, very easily, very, very quickly. I pretty much shoot almost every interview that I shoot on this guy because it's just so incredibly versatile. It's also great for catching behind the scenes and B-roll at fashion shows, things like that. Now, I will say typically if I'm shooting a short film, I'll be using prime lenses that have really good manual focus, which this lens does not. But for most of my paid client work, this guy is king. So let's talk about what I like, what I don't like. Do I wish that I had, say, the G Master or the Sigma 24-70, or even the version 2 of this over this, or am I happy? Well, let's talk about some of the negatives of this lens first before I get into what I like to really answer this. So the negatives are there are no buttons on this like on pretty much I think all the other competitors, including the version 2 of this lens. There's no customizable buttons, nothing like that. The other bummer is it is a telescoping lens. So if you want to adjust it on a gimbal or a Steadicam, you're going to have to adjust the balance. But that said, I think most of the other competitors are also telescoping, so not a huge deal, but a little bit of a bummer. The big killer for me is the manual focus. Now, I think I did make a video a good while back about how the manual focus works, and I will link it up here. But long story short, in some scenarios it's usable, but I would not trust it in any kind of scenario where you absolutely have to be nailing focus. You cannot repeat, you cannot take the shot more than once. Most of the time that I'll actually use manual focus on this will be, you know, close-up static shots where I really want to have that nice little rack focus, and the camera's just not doing it for me. So, you know, then I'll jump into the manual focus here instead of the autofocus, but 95% of the time I'm using autofocus because the manual focus in pretty much all practical shooting scenarios is incredibly frustrating, and I'll use, you know, features within the camera more like tap on the screen or, you know, the tiny little box spot focus to be able to drag the focus box around where I need it to when I need it, so that the autofocus does the work. So it's sort of like manually autofocusing, but at the same time I don't have to really stress out about you know, getting the manual focus right with a really terrible focus by wire motor. So that's really probably the things that I don't enjoy about this. Everything else is pretty solid. It's serviceable. I'm not gonna say it's a mind-blowing lens to use, but it absolutely gets the job done. It's nice and light, which I do really like, especially if I'm flying it on my Steadicam, because, you know, we all know I have little gimpy arms and they get tired fast, man. They do. I'm sure even people with like the big buff arms, their arms would get tired after a certain point, but they get tired a lot less if I'm flying this than, say, the Sigma or 35mm lens or something like that, that although not that much bigger, is significantly heavier, and every little bit of weight that can be kept off means I can fly longer. The image quality is great. It's nothing, you know, shocking, but the image looks good. It looks clean, it looks nice. Really no complaints about image quality, f2.8 all the way through. That's plenty good for getting, you know, nice compression on your videos. The filter thread is 67mm. You know, this lens is so simple and so light, and now it's probably even cheaper than what I got it for, because the version 2 is out and I'm sure you can find a lot of these used on eBay, on B&H, Amazon, Adorama, you name it. I'm sure a lot of these are everywhere. Do I really have any regrets or complaints? I really don't. And the version 2 certainly looks enticing, a lot of features. I think the manual focus might be a little bit better. Am I gonna run out, sell this and replace it with that? No, I'm not, because I use autofocus like 95% of the time, and I have a dedicated set of lenses for manual focus. And that's really only I need those when I'm shooting short films. So love this guy, brilliant for corporate work, has absolutely paid for itself 100 times over. Big thumbs up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do want to learn more about these, I do have an affiliate link below, so feel free to check that out, and I'll catch you all in the next video.